Generally, the further east you go along the north coast of the channel, i.e. the English south coast, the murkier the water becomes, the poorer the visibility for diving becomes, and the more silt and sediment you get in the water and on the bottom. There's a lot of riverine inputs into the channel, and they bring silt, small particles, and they also bring nutrients. Nutrients promote plankton blooms and also bacteria in the water column. In the summer this settles out onto the reefs and onto the bottom, and you can see it wherever you dive. Lyme Bay, out to the west, has the best of both worlds. It's got those nutrients, it's got that silt, and it's got little bits of reef. And the reef where that rather nice Oplidium elegans was seen is this little piece of reef in the background, the vertical, which is only about 25 centimeters high. Here we're backing off it with a very slight current to look at what's further out here, and you can see here where basically a summer's worth of silt has settled out onto a flat reef, and that's limited what's grown here or what can survive here. This is a silt veneer. On the right you've got Adraeus fascicularis, which is a nice big sponge, which is a bit of a specialist in veneers. You've still got pink sea fans, typical Lyme Bay species, and you've got dead man's fingers, and you've also got quite a lot of other sponges, both erect and sponge cushions. Again, you can see that little patch of reef in the background. Here we've got a still showing a close-up. A lot of dead men's fingers. There's a squirt up on the right, the white arrow. The white arrow below it is Ginger Tinies, which is a small colonial anemone. In the centre you've got a burrowing bivalve called Rossularia dubia. Arrows on the top left both point at sponges which seem to specialise in veneers. These are species of Polymastia, and they seem to be different. Same patch of piece of video going a little bit further, and you can see the habitat. You can see it's a large area, a very similar biotope. Moving in a little bit closer, you can see some of these Polymastias, and you can see there's a lot of them. A bit of a waft to find out what it really looks like. And you can see how thin the sediment layer is, this silt layer. This probably vanishes in the winter, and you've got this flat, probably calcareous sedimented sandstone underneath, which is revealed. And this is a close-up showing that same patch of sponges, and you can see 1, 2, 3 individual patches of different sponges. There's another little one off to the right, and this is a close-up of the same one, and you can see on the right you've got closed papillae, and that's an aberrant Polymastia. Another one in the top centre, and on the left is Polymastia penicillis, and this is a close-up of another pair, both with closed papillae, which is incorrect for Polymastia penicillis or any of the other common Polymastias. And you can also see Rossularia dubia, which is a specialist in veneers, and you can see those piddock in inverted commas bores. Earlier we saw the black arrows. They point to 2 sediment species which probably have their toes in these bivalve bores where silt remains all through the year. So this is a silt veneer. It's a fairly common situation in Lyme Bay, but this is quite an easy example because the bedrock, the hard surface underneath, is flat. Don't forget to qualify as a veneer biotope. The species you record, or the majority of the species you record, must be on the rock. and growing under or through a layer of mobile sediment. This silt settles out during the summer and probably vanishes during storms or in the winter. Don't forget that describing sediment as mobile doesn't mean that it moves all the time. It may move only once in quite a long period. So in the summer, this silt might move during a storm, and in the winter it might move very frequently, clearing the rock and allowing reef species to settle.